Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pregame Chat. Today, we're blessed to have Coach Totty with us. He's the head coach down there at RISON and leads those Wildcats. Coach, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Well, I know that we chatted a little bit today and wanted to get into primarily what your team's makeup is going to be this year. I know last year you had just a handful of seniors that graduated, so that's going to leave quite a few of those underclassmen with some playing time opportunities. They had some experience last year.
Yes, we do. Of course, life in a small school, we've already been wiped out 4 starters before we even play a first game. And, of course,
Oh,
a couple
goodness.
of those we will hopefully get back here in maybe one in a week and a half, maybe another in about a month. But two of them are gone. Aaron Mayfield, he ruptured an Achilles, and he was a returning offensive tackle for us. And Braden Matthews had a real rare situation called rhabdo. And so his real rare situation. So he's out for the year. He was a two-way lineman that we played actually in the playoffs. Actually, the last 2 regular seasons games, and then the 2 games in the playoffs. So then our quarterback, he was in a wreck, and he's a quarterback free safety. And then our running back, starting and best cornerback, had some health issues, so he's out for about a week to 10 days. So we may be saying this same thing again next year, the way this thing's going.
Wow. That's one of the issues with being at a smaller school is that the numbers just aren't there from a school population of pupils to actually field much less just a football team. And then you're trying to talk about, fielding two sides of the line, and it's just tough to do, and you've got how many total players on the roster right now that can play if we suited up today?
We've got about 30 that could play today. We've got about 34 on the roster.
Oh wow, yeah, that makes it a bit difficult. What do you guys do as far as anything special to kind of get those players who may be accustomed to playing on one side of the ball at some of their younger levels, whether it's pee-wee sports or maybe even in junior high? How do you get them acclimated to the possibility or the reality that they're going to be playing on both sides quite a bit?
Well, we kind of take an approach like a minor league baseball system with our 7th and junior high. We're trying to project. Our same staff works our kids 7 through 12, so it's a lot of hours. But one of the benefits of that is that your kids,
Sure.
And so we try to do a good job of pinpointing what we project that kid to play for us. And sometimes it hurts us a little bit in junior high. For example, if we know we're going to graduate, say, a right tackle, we're going to play our best right tackle as a 9th grader, and our next position we need maybe a left guard. So a lot of times people in junior high, they'll stack them all on one side and give it to the fast guy behind them. So we're projecting out, and as a result of that, we have a lot of sophomores. We have to rely on a lot of sophomores, but a lot of those guys come up and they are ready to play. Like I mentioned earlier, they're ready to play at the end of the year and even in the playoffs.
Now, you've got some athletes on the skill positions, but maybe not as much experience. What are you looking for this year as far as the ability to actually air the ball out to go along with your normal 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, we've got, of course, we've got a good slot back named as Kyler Walker,
Right.
a very talented kid. He's got good hands and good speed. Of course, Owen Morrison, our quarterback, of course, I mentioned he was in a wreck, but he actually came up and started for us in the playoffs as a 9th grader.
Wow.
So he got a lot of experience coming back as a junior. But then we're confident in Blaine Dixon as well. Blaine was one of our better receivers, and so he's also our backup quarterback, and he plays linebacker and safety, and kicks and punts and does it all. Good athlete. So, but he can throw the ball well. But those guys there are a big part of it. We've got Roger Boswell as a tight end, who's a big, strong, typical tight end, about 245 pounds, a really dominant blocker. He's really good in the play action game, lost a lot of weight, basketball player, good athlete. So, those two guys provide a lot of big plays for us in the pass game.
Now, there's not a whole lot of teams that are structured the way RISON is. We talked about that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So you've got some of those teams that you'll be facing this year that'll air it out. What's that secondary look like for you this year, and how's that experience level?
That's been a, we've been hurt right there quite a bit with some injuries. But we played a lot of 7-on-7s this summer, and tried to hone up our skills. We threw a lot of those guys to the fire last year. We started Travion Wainwright, Kyler Walker. They were sophomores, and
Mm-hmm.
um, Owen Morrison was a sophomore. So a lot of those guys got experience, and are back. And then of course, those guys are a big part of it because, like you say, they see, we pretty well. The only team we might see Fordyce that'll get under center in the wing T. Of course, they'll do some,
Mm-hmm.
but everybody else we see is a spread team.
Now, when it comes to those spread teams, if you're able to control that offense, that doesn't really allow a whole lot of time for you to get a lot of opportunities on your offensive side of the ball, which will lead to some close games. That being the case, how's that kicker's range this year? Have you dialed him in to where you're comfortable, or is that something where it's going to preempt you a little bit more on the fourth down and go for it situations?
So we like to go for it on fourth down.
Right.
We're ball control, and of course, that helps us defensively as well because we, like you mentioned, we limit a lot of snaps from the opponent. So we like to go for it on fourth. But Braden Dupree is our kicker, who's also our starting halfback and had a really good year for us last year. He got injured there toward the end of the year, and of course, tough kid, played through it, but his back was hurt, and his leg was hurt, and he wasn't full speed at the end. So if we can keep him healthy, he's going to have a big year. And then he's also starting outside linebacker, and then as you mentioned, small ball, also our kicker. So when he's feeling good and he's fresh, he can boom it pretty good. For us at our level, 30-35 yard field goal. But here early, when you don't ever come off the field, that old leg gets dead. They're late in the game a lot of times.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now your upcoming opponents to start the season is Dumas, and those Bobcats. You never know what you're going to get out of that team. What are you expecting to see this ball game?
I think they'll be. This is Coach Lovelady's second year there.
Right.
I think he did a really good job. He's coached with some really good coaches, Coach Bolden, and come from some really good programs there. And you could see them getting better last year. I think he's solid. He's got a good staff there. Got really good talent there. Really good skill players, big linemen. They got all the ingredients to be really good. And it will be, I've told our kids all week is our will have to be bigger than their skill.
Right.
We know we're not going to match them skill wise, so we got to play with a lot of heart. And like I said, a lot of guys going both ways, probably 7 or 8 going both ways, and our conditioning will be big, and playing through some discomfort will be big, to give us a chance to pull it out.
Well, I think they've got 12 returning starters total. And if I'm not mistaken, they won 2, maybe 3 ball games last year. So those kids are going to be hungry. Is there anything that you've talked to your group about, maybe having your opponent come out with a little bit more oomph because of their desire and not letting that kind of dictate how the game's going to go for RISON?
Yeah, in the preseason, of course, our emphasis is more on us. I always say if we take care of us, everything will take care of itself. And I think there's more games lost than they are won. We have to hang on to the ball. We got to be good in the kick game. We got to tackle well. We got to block well. We got to be locked in, dialed in. We got to be in shape.
Right.
But we, of course, naturally we have talked about Dumas, but our emphasis is really a lot more on ourselves than it is on our opponent because we really can't control what they do, but we can control what we do. So we have a lot of respect for them, and we know we're in for a battle. And we scrimmaged them in the past. More times than not, they get the best out of us in the scrimmage games. And so we know what's ahead of us for sure.
Now, on those road trips, some of them can be quite long, especially when we're talking playoffs. I mean, there's some time in that bus. What do your players do on those long road trips? Is there some coaching going on, or are you just hoping that they get their rest?
Well, we're still a little old school in that area. We take those cell phones up, and we want them to lock to the game plan, and I played for Coach Benson years ago at Ouachita Baptist, and boy, that was I mean, you didn't hear a word in the pregame. We were always ready to play. I just think there's so many distractions out there in the world today.
Sure.
That just adds to it. And a lot of times that, they hear the wrong things, or they get their mind off somewhere else. So ours is a quiet bus, and it's I do let them listen to music. We take their cell phones, and we even keep them after the game. And boy, if we win, we have a merry time on the way back. And if we lose, it's still quiet. So that's kind of the way we approach it. And I get a lot of compliments from kids. They'll come back and they'll talk about, Coach, I miss them bus trips after them wins. Some of them, those are great memories, because kids don't sit around and talk anymore. They text. And
Right.
so, man, when we win, I'm telling you, they're singing songs, and they're having a great time. And so I think it's a really good thing that we do there.
Need to get you a jukebox in that bus.
Hey, it never hurt. Hey, we're upgrading down here, man. We got a few buses that actually got a radio in them now, so we can turn that thing up a little
You're
bit.
good to go.
Hey, we even got one with air conditioner now. So
Woo, Lord of mercy. What's RISON going to have to do to pull out a win here? They always talk that cliche about the keys to victory, but the reality is there are certain aspects of the game that it's just, you've got to win that particular part of the game. And what is that for RISON?
We've got to win the turnover battle for sure. We got to hang on to the football. We did a poor job of that last year. Fundamentally, we put the ball on the ground way too much. We've got to be good in short yardage. As we mentioned earlier, we've got to convert those third and shorts, those fourth and shorts, keep those chains moving. We're not going to be much of a big play team. We just don't have that capability. So, we have to execute there. Defensively, we've got to tackle real well. And we've got to create some takeaways there. And then probably the biggest thing early in the year is the kick game. And you can get some advantages there early. And, so those are the things that I think will be the key for us.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck and keep them healthy, as they say. And we look forward to talking to you later on in the season.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate you.